You are listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So, if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or his Substack. Or simply buy him a coffee with a one-off donation, links to which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
Cat is not meowing. Sometimes she comes and just meows. She goes, and I'm like, no, not yet. And then sometimes I let her in because I'm feeling like in the hot weather. It's really hot. I need to keep the doors open. But then she comes and she walks over the table. She starts pressing on the buttons. It's a complete disaster. Anyway, let's start. Thanks for coming, Kasia.
Kasia. Yes.
Kasia.
Kasia.
Lovely name.
Thank you.
It feels like yesterday you were at the retreat. I'm so glad. You know what? It was by accident. You weren't meant to be there. Like someone else was meant to be there. And then they messed up. And then suddenly, yeah, you walked in. It was amazing. And you know what? It was like yoga I've never done before. And everyone there said the same thing. It was just brilliant. So I just want to say publicly, well done you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll never forget. So tell me. You're a yoga instructor. What made you get into yoga?
I'm more like a yoga explorer.
Oh.
So I'm more interested in philosophy and the context that we practice yoga. And because right now yoga is booming. Yoga is booming. It's everywhere.
Why is it booming? Is it trendy? Is it fashionable? Is it all the influencers?
I think it's all of it. I think they say it's no longer yoga, it's yoga industry. So that says on its own, like, what have we done to this, like, a beautiful practice? And I don't want to be negative, but also we have to acknowledge certain aspects of the practice that we're missing out. So yeah, I think it's very important to have a conversation with regular person like me. I'm just a practitioner. I'm teaching as well.
No, listen. No one is just anything.
I mean, yeah.
No. Not you. Certainly not you of all people. You're not just anyone. You're sitting in that seat for a reason. You're special. And everyone is something. Okay? So, no, you're not just yoga practitioner. Carry on.
So, so yeah, I think that yoga was made for regular people like you and me. And then we have this concept that I'm special. But what makes you more special than anybody else? We are all human creatures, human beings. And I think we lost completely contact how to be a human being. And maybe somehow yoga practice is helping us to come back to this, like, okay, I've got body. It's not just head that's moved somewhere in a space, but actually you start feeling the physiological aspects of who you are, what makes you, you know. And I think it's very important because very often I see this lack of connection to the body. So when I had, even 2 weeks ago, I had my friend, she came to a class and I was talking about the breathing and I said, okay, can you feel the breath moving in your chest? And she was like looking very confused. She said, I'm not feeling anything. So to bring back this connection and this idea that I can actually sense the breath in my body. I can feel it move. I can feel it expand. I can play around it. So it's this element of exploring and allowing yourself to explore in your own body in whichever way suits you. So the yoga gives you so much freedom, but with this freedom comes also responsibility because we have to respect its roots, knowing that it comes from India, that it's a philosophy, and there's a beautiful saying that the yoga is the seeing through the heart.
Is that what, sorry?
Seeing through the heart.
Seeing through the heart.
Yes. So we kind of bringing this all awareness here, and the heart, once it's uncovered from all the layers of conditioning that we have, has a lot of compassion. And when you have this compassionate heart in society that we have right now, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to, to kind of to stay open. So I think it's very, because when you look at the yogis, they were going outside of the societies. They wouldn't want to live within the society. So there was these rebels. There were rebels, and actually these people that would say like, "Oh my God, people, you're crazy. How do you want to connect to God in this like crazy society?" And nothing changed in that matter.
So what is the philosophy of yogi? I mean, I know it comes from India. So what is the background? Like, when did it all start? And there's all these different types.
I mean, it's philosophy. So when we yoga practitioners, then we're looking for yoga sutras. So the basic text that we have, but it's also in connection with Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu sacred text. So yoga as a practice, because it's from India, it's connected and related to the Hindu religion. But with Catholic background, I can also use yoga because it's philosophy, it's darshana, it's one of 6 main philosophical schools. Philosophical schools from the East, Also, there's plenty of amazing philosophy teachers, and once you're just going. We're starting from the body, and then we realize that this is the whole universe in itself. And then you want to kind of, if your curiosity is sparked, then you're going deeper into philosophy, into different branches. And when we're coming back to this, like a Yoga Sutra says that there's eight limbs of yoga. So asana is only one limb, so one part of the yoga. So the movement, so finding the comfort in your body, finding the space, and recognizing how does being comfortable feel.
So hold on, for most people, yoga is yoga pants and a yoga mat.
That's the yoga industry.
I'm just saying, that's the idea that most people conjure up, and then putting themselves into extreme positions and it's uncomfortable, or maybe images of hot yoga comes into your brain. But yoga, what you're saying is a lot more complicated than that.
I mean, well, I used to have a teacher, and he said to me, like, yoga is brutal. The reality that the true yoga is brutal because it was meant to strip all the beliefs that we have about who we are and, connect with who we truly are. And we carry so much conditioning, so much beliefs. So as we're going through the motions and movement, we're rooting deeper into the body, right? So we're establishing that connection, and we're seeing like, oh my God, I'm so much more than just walking head.
So much more than a walking head. People need to understand that, don't they? Yeah. Most people don't appreciate that.
Yeah. This is the real struggle as well, to share some of the experience in accessible way. So we have to always find a way, how can we meet people on the middle ground? So it's, so they're able to also digest the information, right? So for me, it was also very, very interesting journey, because I don't even know how it happened. It was just so natural that suddenly I'm like, okay, yeah, yoga. Yeah, that's my thing. How come I didn't know about it before? So it was very natural. And right now, when I look at the yoga practice, I'm like, I respect it so much for what it is. And it's something within me kind of stirs when it's being kind of disrespected, because it's very serious practice.
Okay, so then break that down for me. So explain to me, what are the key philosophies of yoga, and how you would want to see yoga practiced and respected, and why is it not? Because it sounds like what you're describing right now is yoga is like a really nice steak, but what most people are getting today is like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah. Yeah, something that kind of so this is what we do in general. We take all the cultures, we bring them in without understanding what they truly are, and then we just pretend that they've always been here, but it's not. I think it's not true, and we have to give respect to all the teachers that I had, and I've spent also a couple of months couple of months, nearly a year in India. So that was also very intense experience. And many times I was like, oh my God, you're white, you're teaching yoga. Like, who do you think you are? What gives you the right to, and that was, so I felt responsible and I felt it's my duty to protect this sacred teaching, and build kind of common ground where we can start building something really, really nice and really accessible to everyone with this kind of roots of what the practice really is. So we all, as human beings, we all already practicing yoga, whether we are aware of it or not. Because we have set of moral rules. We've got some ethics. We do move. We We have the moments when we withdraw our senses inwards to kind of recharge. And we kind of, once we love something very much, we feel connection. So the sense of I disappear. So there's just, like when you do puzzles, and you focus on doing the puzzles. And suddenly you disappear. You're all in it. So this is the state of samadhi, the dissolution of the concept of who you are. So we all do yoga. We're all aiming towards a higher, maybe unconsciously. So the practice of yoga brings it all into conscious. So you start exercising the muscle of your awareness to bring more intention. So yoga practice is just bringing that intention, So you have set of rules, and at the base of in Yoga Sutra, the base of the yoga practice is ahimsa, so non-harming. So already looking at it and what's happening in the world, how can we even talk about practicing yoga if on the foundation there's already a lot of harm, a lot of exploitation? So how do you take yourself out from that? And we have a duty as a yoga practitioners to find ways to untangle ourselves from the system of exploitation, of harm.
Exploitation, yeah.
Yes, exploitation and harm. So when you look at it, that all life is your yoga practice. So every single thing that you do, you're looking, you've got your eyes to see what's happening in the world, and then how can I change that for myself?
So am I right in saying if you practice yoga properly, you're more aware of the world around you, but you're more aware of your true self as well?
Yes.
So you're looking both in and outward properly.
Properly, yes. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people right now who are, I hate this word, but I don't understand any other way of describing it. But when we say people aren't awake, are you awake? Are you not awake? Are your eyes open? Are your eyes closed? A lot of people are asleep. People are walking around with their eyes open, but the light isn't on inside. They're in the matrix, in the system. They're doing their job. They're watching social media. I don't think they're really connected with who they are. And a lot of people don't understand their sovereign power, how powerful they really are as a human being, this eternal being. They think that they're just a consumer, a taxpayer, a worker, So I think if people were more aware of themselves and also aware of what the world is around them, maybe life would be a little bit better for everyone. Just a thought.
Let me
digest that.
Let me digest that. Yes. And now waking up is a very painful thing. It is extremely challenging. And we have to have also certain capacity within our nervous system to face that opening. Because once we start going inside, so we start seeing the conditioning and to release that conditioning, the thing that always was there for you, to give you this fake sense of safety and control.
Why is awakening painful?
Because you awaken to everything that was holding you. So you see, if you have, for example, so you see that, well, I don't know how to explain that, but it is a painful process of taking away the layers, because with each uncovering comes amount of grief. So we always have grief kind of in the forefront of uncovering ourselves, because you realize, I've been living a lie. And then there's so many lies that we've been telling ourselves.
And have been told.
So many lies. And sometimes without that lie, you don't know who you are anymore. So there's also many moments where you meet this liminal space, the space of not being who you used to be, because something kind of, something cracked in you. So you don't know who you are, because this is not present anymore. This kind of concept, idea, label, you know, and then you meet this space of void, of not knowing, because it's unprecedented. You've never done that before. It's a completely new way of being. So you have no idea what's coming next, because you can only predict on the basis of repetition from the past, right? So if I have this rhythm, then I can easily predict the future. But if I never had that rhythm before, and I'm kind of uncovering something new about myself, I have to face the period of kind of darkness and unknowing. So it's like planting a seed in the deep soil, you know? It's in the darkness. So how do we hold this darkness?
Yeah, I don't want to hold the darkness, but there's a lot of darkness.
And that's it.
I don't want all the darkness. So I'm going to ask again, what are the key philosophies of yogi then?
That's it. You keep going, you know, you have a practice, you stay aware of what's happening, you're noticing how it feels within you. But I think a nice element to add to your yoga practice is to also to check the information, to connect with the teachers and see from where do you take your information, who inspires you, and why. What's your why? Why do you do your yoga practice? Why? Because people think that it should bring you a sense of calm and peace. It's true, but not always the truth. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes you've got a year of practice. Nothing changes, nothing happens. You're just going to do your asana practice. And there's no cathartic memory moments. There's nothing very intense happens. It's just like a very flat. Can you stay with this and just practice, keep practicing?
So yeah, I'm thinking about this, right? This I think inner dialogue is very important. Like talking to yourself or thinking about why you think certain ways or why you feel certain ways. So for example, I became aware yesterday that the government was wanting to push digital ID.
Okay.
I felt a whole stream of emotions. I got quite angry. Then I was like, why am I angry? And I was like, because it's wrong. Because this Labour government, only 1 in 5 people voted for them. There is no mandate. There's no public demand for digital ID. They're pushing it forward because this is part of their mechanism to control us in this country. And it's based on a lie. You're saying it's because of mass migration. It's got nothing to do with mass migration. It's not going to control mass migration. So I was like, I'm angry because it's a lie. They have no right to do this. I am free. And this is not my choice. And I feel like something's being imposed on me. But then I also realize I'm frustrated as well because I feel like I'm impotent, that I have no control, that it's not fair. Like I don't want this and I'm powerless. But then I was like, actually, you're not powerless. You're only powerless if you think that and you give it to them. You need to actually remember that you have all the power. And they might be scared. The reason why they're pushing this digital ID is they are fearful that we are waking up and that we're not going to accept this. They're actually doing it quite rushed. Normally when they push something, it's based on fear themselves, like, oh, COVID mask, it's going to kill you. they haven't done any fear program for this digital ID. They basically just said, you need digital ID. And I feel like it's all rushed. I feel like they haven't really planned it through. Then I thought to myself, actually, if they are that powerful, Tony Blair was talking about digital ID back in 2000, 25 years ago. If they were that powerful, they would have passed it through by now. We would be having digital ID. But they haven't. They haven't passed it through because it's difficult for them. So then I was like, okay, fine. I'm not as powerless as I thought, and they're not as powerful as they might project. We can resist and we can push them back, and that's what we need to do. So I was having all this inner dialogue with myself, and but I think that's important. I think it's important to do that kind of introspection and think things out and understand why you feel a certain way and why you feel frustrated. But I don't think a lot of people do that actually. They're kind of disconnected.
Ability to self-reflect, and also knowing that even though as a yoga says also that we have to take actions. We have to take actions, and especially when they come from clarity. So how many of us is in a state of clarity? Like, from where does your actions coming from? So for most of us, actions comes from survival strategies. So there's another layer of what's building us, and for most of us is this. It's when we start connecting to the body through whichever movement modalities and practices. And so let's take the yoga out of the equation for now, and let's focus on the systems that we have in the body, and how the systems that we have in the body are reflected in the systems that we live within. This is also very interesting, because you realize that we have our nervous system. And for majority of us, we are so used to live in survival stress.
Yeah.
And
big time.
We don't know how it is to be in this like center, because it feels so foreign that it feels dangerous. Because we're so used to making decision from this space of either fighting or running away, or fighting or running away, or if you don't know what to do, then you just collapse and you pretend that you're not there, you're hiding, and you're like, ugh. But then coming into the center and say how much action I can actually take without going into collapse or without fighting. So, and then you're just able to have a conversation. But we are already past that stage. We cannot, we passed this stage where we ignored so much for so long that it grew big. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. We have ignored, I speak to a lot of people and they say, look, we can't make the world a better place until all of humanity raises its consciousness. Like, we've kind of allowed this to happen. We've allowed the world to be the way it is because we've not been...
Yeah, we ignored because out of comfort.
Out of comfort. Yeah. And yoga can be quite uncomfortable sometimes.
It's very uncomfortable. Most of the time it's uncomfortable because there's lots of self-reflection. So you have to reflect on yourself. I mean, not in a way that majority of people are policing themselves, like like really tracing their thoughts. Just reflect and allow yourself also not to be perfect. You don't have to get everything. But once you have a little connection to your heart and to your body, then you can start differentiating what feels right and what does not feel right. So this comes like with a lot of turmoil, because you realize that what you've been choosing was based in the survival energies.
So, you know what? This is why you're so different from any yoga instructor I've ever come across before, because on the retreat, the way you're talking to us and telling us to think and feel and breathe and then move, it's like nothing I've ever done before. It was amazing. And everyone was saying the same thing. And, we had guests like from America and everyone. They're like, I've never had a yoga instructor like her. It's just amazing. How do you avoid the McDonald's yoga? Because now it makes sense why, for example, the yoga industry, the people who are like yoga instructors, so many of them took the vaccine and the jabs and pushed the lockdown. I thought, here we are, a group of people who are vegetarian or vegan. They're organic. They don't like GMO, genetically modified, organisms or whatever, or food. But now they're happy to be genetically modified themselves. I just don't understand that. They want a gene therapy that's going to modify them, but they don't want to eat GMO food. It just, the contrast was so bizarre to me. And I thought the yoga industry was all about freedom and being peaceful and chilled out and anti-authority and anti-government. And they're hippies. And then suddenly, like, they're all signing up for the jab. Like, what was that all about?
Interesting.
Or did I have the wrong impression from the first place?
I wouldn't necessarily take yoga that we see online as a kind of role model, you know. And I watched this documentary on YouTube, I think, Kumari, about this American guy that went to India for 2 weeks, and then he said that he's going to prank a lot of people, and so he pretended to become a guru, and he went back to America, and he found he was like, you know, wearing these orange robes, pretending to be this like a massive guru from India, and he started kind of attracting people,
Creating a cult.
So he's created, yes. So he's created a cult, but in all of this, he was very sincere, and you've got to watch this. He was very sincere. He was very kind of open to those people, and they had lots of nice conversation, and so he was building this like relationship, and they become friends, and he helped so many of them to change, to transform. But then after, like, I'm not sure how long he was doing this for, maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks. But then after 2 weeks, there comes a time where he wanted to show them who he truly was.
Oh, God.
So, you know, can you imagine this? Like, you have believed that someone is this like saint guru, and for some reason he managed to touch something in you, but then it turns out he's not the person that you believed him.
What happened?
So he couldn't tell them. So there was this like a big end ceremony, and he didn't do anything. He just packed his bag and go. And after, I think, a month, he went back and told them that he just, you know, he's just a regular guy, and he was just making a documentary. So because he was interested, and some of them, they were all right. But for some of them, they stood up and left. You know, so I think it's also very, very interesting thing to watch, because we project our own sense of power to other people, and we expect other people to come and save us. And whereas in the yoga tradition, there's lots of lineages, so the knowledge is passed down from generations. Whereas, so that's why it's very important to have someone to exchange experiences and exchange information. But that does not mean necessarily that someone that was, you know, that doesn't mean that someone that's practicing yoga for 15, 20 years has more, I don't know how to explain, because it's also, we're connecting to the soul. And do you think that some souls are on a different level of experience? They're more open. They're coming already with more knowledge, and they able to ingest more complex information, because this is how the brain works. So they're just opening more information. And some people, it takes a much longer time. So it's like you come to yoga practice with a bank account, and some of us come with the debt. So first we're paying off the debt, and who knows how long it will take until we come to this balance where we start actually gathering knowledge.
Yeah, I know. I think I was just a bit surprised and disappointed with a lot of yogis for taking the jab. But I think they're no different than any other human being. The doctors, the nurses, the physios, so many people, they just signed up for it. And I'm just saying, it's the contradiction though. You know, I'm going to be vegetarian, eat healthy food and not have GMO, and then I'm going to have a genetic vaccine. It's like, a lot of humanity was very disappointing.
Art of discernment.
Super insightful consultation, and Doc M came into it with an incredible amount of information and support. I really felt he was there to help, that he cared and that he genuinely wants the best for you. Can't recommend him enough. Thanks again, Doc. From Dave. And folks, if you want to see 40 other reviews, 5-star reviews, just visit my website, docmalik.com, and you can look at in the menu consultations or go directly to the booking page, docmalik.setmore.com. Book a consultation with me. If you're unsure about how to move forward with a diagnosis, with a treatment plan, or you feel like you're stuck in a rut, you don't trust your doctor, you've had surgeries and pills and you've got side effects, whatever it might be, I can help you. I can act as your advocate. I can help you work the system to your benefit, knowing what questions to ask and to explore options that the mainstream doctors might not have covered with you. Folks, if this resonates with you, please book a consultation with me, and I can't wait to help you. Back to the show. Say that again.
Art of discernment. You need to choose your battles wisely. So it's not every single battle is worth your energy.
That was a big battle, though. Saying no to the vaccine.
Oh yeah.
That's one to fight for.
And it's possible. And I think we cannot judge anyone for taking a vax or not taking a vax. Sometimes the life circumstances are stronger than anything else. Because I think it's by design, how we building our lives is already creating so much boundary for us to express ourselves freely. So we look at the yoga spaces, the movement places, and offering people to have this time for themselves where they actually can stop and connect to their own body and start making their own connections. How do I actually feel before I start feeling? How do I actually breathe before I start with modifying the breath, with bringing pranayama and different breathing techniques? What's my breath? Can I have this practice throughout the day, just noticing the breath without trying to change it, but allow my body to finally breathe in whichever way it wants, without trying to constantly putting it into this tightness of expectations.
All right, tell me, you're from Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes.
Over the 25 years, I've seen a lot of Polish people come to the UK. I remember in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of people wanted to come here, get jobs, paid better. It was difficult in Poland. I've noticed recently the reversal. A lot of English people and Brits are moving to Poland. They talk about how the quality of life there is better. It's just so much better than here. Have you noticed that? What's happening?
I have. Yes. It's changing. It's growing. The economic is growing as well. But then at the same time, what do you want from life? Is that you want to make more money? Do you want to live in a bigger city? Because if we're talking about this development, is big cities like Warsaw, Krakow, Wrocław, So, but countryside is still kind of underdeveloped in some ways. So when we talk in mainstream,
I quite like that. I like it underdeveloped.
Exactly. So when we talk about this speed in growth, it's the corporations, the high speed of life, the easy of transportation, this stuff that we have in London.
That's not progress.
I mean, for majority of people, it's progress because they get paid good money, so they can finally have Zara clothes, H&M, and all the big brands. So this is, I think, we have to understand that the yoga is not about this. But if we grew up with a sense of scarcity, and the lack, and suddenly we reach the point where we can actually taste an opposite, have an opposite experience, of course we're gonna go for it, because we want to know how it feels to have, to be able to provide, to be able to to have all of these things. I think it's very normal that if we have certain experiences, then sometimes the life will show us the completely opposite experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And are the Poles welcoming of all these Brits coming to Poland now?
I mean, I'm here. I don't spend much time in Poland.
Okay.
Although I was this summer, and I noticed that the clouds look different.
What do you mean?
Like this different clouds. This is what I was staring at the sky, and I suddenly realized, oh my God, these clouds are completely different than the clouds in England. It's not about chemtrails or anything like this.
I know.
It's just the sense. It's just the sense of the shape of clouds. It's just different sky.
I know what you mean. So when I've traveled around the world, and one of the things I really love when I go to another place is I especially love high clouds up in the sky, big mountains. I like the big sky. Problem with over here is the clouds are always very low. It's like blanket of white. And it gives this sense of oppression weighing down on you. I like the big skies. I like the beautiful sunsets and the beautiful sunrises and the pinks and the peaches and the oranges. I miss all that when I go on holiday and I see that. I just think, oh my God, I feel just so happy now. But then you come back and it's just this grey, white weight on top of you. It's a bit too much. And if you think it's bad here, you should try it in Glasgow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Most of the year round, it's just wet and grey. It's a bit too much for me.
I mean, there's something about what you said. There's also this meditation, the cloud meditation, where you stare in the sky, you find your cloud and just observe it. It's very calming, especially when you have this sense of spaciousness. And what you just said about this, like a economical growth and stuff, what we think the growth really is, and is that aligned with the growth of the soul, and is this an environment where the soul can thrive? Like, once you have this understanding that we don't need that many things to be, nice human beings, we can thrive in some countryside house, having our own vegetables and stuff. But what I'm saying is, like, we don't need that speed, do we? Everything is going so fast right now, and we think it's progress. Is that really progress? What would happen if we just slow it down?
What would happen? Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, like,
exactly, what would happen? What would have happened if we just slow it down?
Well, the funny thing is, with all the speed, everything's faster, quicker. We have less time than ever before.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? That's like the opposite. It's a paradox. Like, you would think if everything was faster and quicker and more efficient, you would have more time to just be on your own and relax and think and breathe. But we don't. Everyone I know is rushed off their feet, rushing. No one's got time even to meet. There used to be a time, like, you call your friends, you'd meet up with them, you'd go to a pub or meet in a park or come over to your house. Like, hardly anyone does that now. Everyone's working to the last minute, long commute, come home, eat, watch Netflix, go to sleep. And always go to sleep quite late, then rinse, repeat. And that's all with modernity, with speed. So I think slowing down would be great. I feel like the biggest con that we've been sold is that we need to work like 9 to 5 every day, 5 days a week, and spend most of our earnings paying tax in the government. I feel like in the past, people didn't do this. Like, I've read about this like hundreds of years ago. People might work like an afternoon, but then they would have time to just relax, to talk, to play, to enjoy life. I think we've lost a lot of the play in the world. And the idea that adults should play is almost like, why would you do that? But we should be playing forever, And that's what would happen. If we had more time, we'd have time to meet, connect, play, laugh, and resist tyranny.
But so we're talking also about the capacity for experiencing certain emotion and the capacity of play we can play when we in this like a nice regulated state. So if majority of us is driven by the survival energies, like this go, 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 get, I need to get more, there's no time for play. Everything becomes a responsibility or numbing yourself. So you go out, party, drinking all night, and just dancing, yeah. But it has nothing to do with healthy kind of spending time together, because we're not able to connect on this human level. Like, oh, let's just sit down in a park or go and have a beer in a park, whatever. Everything is rushed. So, but it comes that we live in the societies, and the majority of societies are driven by the survival stress. So it's like being in a safari, fighting for survival. So when we talk about the economical growth, does that mean that fighting for survival, constantly being stressed? And we're looking at different groups of people, like young women, single women, and mothers. How do they raise their children? What's the environment that we are being raised in? There's so many things that we can address. It can be addressed, and when we take yoga lens into addressing also social justice and addressing all of the systems that should be created to bring support, not exploitation, not, and respect for us. But it feels like the systems only are able to sustain themselves because they took away so much of the power that people believe that they still kind of not able to make their own decisions. So we're waiting for someone to come and rescue us. So we're in the developmental state maybe of a young child,
Bingo.
So we've got society that it's not really emotionally mature. So how can we talk about higher spiritual practices? Majority of people from this kind of fractured society, they will go to spiritual practice to numb themselves down and to dissociate from the society even more, because they don't want to take part in that, because they feel wrong. They feel not seen. They feel that their needs are not being met, and it's growing. And what's the way to kind of to rebel? It's, I guess, to create spaces where we have this honest interaction. It does not mean that, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm gonna tell you the way of life. No, I create enough space for you so you can find your own way. So there's a process of you going to individuate, you're going to mature enough so you can connect to your own sense of self. And from that sense of self, you're going to make your own, decision, whether you want to invest in a system that kind of brings you money and a lack of time.
Yeah. That was very profound what you just said. No, it was. I think the idea that most of society is very immature and not developed is like childlike. It's very true. I think most people abdicate their power and their responsibility and their decision making to other people, other figures, whether it be the government or whoever or public health official. They're scared of making the decision themselves. They just want to be told what to do, and they want to follow. I think that's a big problem. Too many people want to follow someone and look for someone else to make the decisions and lead them. And as long as most people are in that position, then someone will take advantage of that. Sometimes it might be a good person. More often than not, the kind of person that wants to lead and control other people is not a good person. It's a bad person. So you suddenly have psychopath ruling society or manipulating the majority of well-intentioned good people who are just, giving away their power. And we can't change until most people raise themselves up and go, you know what? I'm not just going to follow. I'm not going to just be told what to do and actually seek out for that. I'm actually going to do things that I think are right. And I think that's the only way we get out of the mess that we're in right now. But like you said, that's difficult. That's harder. That's where you need to have resilience.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you need to be made out of tough stuff. And that's why you need to be used to being uncomfortable and in discomfort. I went running in the woods yesterday for 10 kilometers. It wasn't easy. It was hard. But you know what? Afterwards, it was so much fun. It felt great. You ever come across the idea of type 1 fun and type 2 fun? You ever heard of that kind of stuff? I'll take a few minutes to explain. So type 1 fun is something that's very easy. Like you drive up to McDonald's, you eat your burger.
Okay.
You pick up your phone, you scroll through TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. It's just coming at you. You're not doing anything. The problem with that type 1 fun is it lowers your threshold. Sorry, it raises your threshold to be happy. So you need more burgers and more TV and more social media to stay happy. And the happiness that you get is very temporary and it depletes your dopamine.
Mm.
So you tend to be more miserable and grumpy. You need to do more of it so you become addicted and it just doesn't make you feel happy, right? And whether it's a porn addiction or watching TV or eating junk food, it's a transient happiness, but you pay for it. It's like spending on a credit card. You have a massive credit card bill at the end of the month. Now, type 2 fun is not easy. It's not just driving up to McDonald's for your burger. You have to go shopping to your local farm, get a nice steak. You have to light the barbecue. You have to marinate the sauce, cook the barbecue, make some sides. But when you eat it, it's just delicious. It was worth it. Or instead of watching some TV and just scrolling through your phone, you go out for a run. You do a difficult run. You go do jiu-jitsu. Or you do a hard yoga session with you. It's tough. You're like moaning and groaning. Remember in that class, like, it's like this. But then afterwards, like the sense of happiness is much higher than type 1. And your threshold for happiness is lower. So it doesn't take much to be happy. You get happy just looking at your chickens, looking at the trees and life and the butterfly and the dragonfly, that, landing on the flower. That will make you happy. It's like, you just find life is just a lot happier. And you look back and go, wow, that was fun. Like no one goes back and goes, oh, I loved watching that program on Netflix, or, oh my God, that McDonald's burger was amazing. You never go back and think about it like that. But you do think about type 2 fun like that. God, that session in jiu-jitsu was amazing. I love that. So type 2 fun builds resilience. It makes you happier, longer. And the refractory period is also shorter. So what I mean by that is, longer. So you are happy for much longer. You need less of it to be happy. So type 1 fun is what most people do. They're dominated by that. Instant gratification, comfort, convenience. It makes them soft. It gets rid of resilience. It actually makes them sadder in the long term.
Mm.
Whereas type 2 fun is hard. It's tough, but it's memorable. It makes you more resilient, happier in the long term, and healthier. So that's type 1, type 2. I don't know how that resonates with you.
Yeah, for sure. Type 1, it sounds like a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
So more like we're not seeking for...
Like getting your Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs and eating your ice cream when you're feeling a bit sad.
Yeah, exactly. So with the type 2, I think, appreciating where you're placing your energy, and getting fulfillment from, so getting, so it's like proving yourself that you can achieve something. So it's more kind of goal oriented, right?
Kind of, yeah, can be.
Whereas you scoring type 1, there's no goal.
There's no
There's
effort.
no end goal. There's no effort. It's just like
Passive consumption.
passive consumption. Whereas the second one is more like you're making a conscious choice.
And it's also in many respects active creation.
Yeah, and
You're
then
creating something.
yeah, so
Actively.
and it's going to be costing you some effort. Like so you're spending that effort to achieve something, but it's also the end goal is you want to feel joy. You want to experience this fulfillment. Whereas in when we look at, for example, yoga practice, the true yogi is taking action from the heart without expecting any fruits of his action. Can you imagine this?
Yeah.
So for yogi, it's like the end result does not matter. You're doing something out of love, and that's very interesting kind of thing to notice. How many things in my everyday life I do because I feel like I'm inspired.
Yeah. How many people do that?
If you were to look at your everyday life and just do like a list of things, noticing based how that made you feel, and noticing which things are making me feel more expansive and which things are making me feel like I want to hide and contract. So starting your practice with every day noticing those stuff, and that's very challenging, because what if I've created life around this contraction? So that's why I'm saying, like, awakening, it's very painful, because, and it makes you kind of realize that your life sometimes has been built on fake foundations.
Oh my goodness. Again, very profound. Very profound. I've talked about this, Kasia. I've said a lot of people are living lies. They're living a lie that they like their job, they like their boss, they like their partner.
Yeah.
They like their life. It's just one lie built on another, and they just put up with it. And then they put off happiness to say, I'll be happy when I retire. Then I'll be happy. I'm like, what? I'm like, why are you not happy now? You know, I've got so many colleagues like that. I go, I'm working hard. I'm doing all this private practice, and then then I'll be happy. Then when at some point in the future, and honestly, they're not happy with their life. They're not happy with their wives. They're not happy with their job. They're miserable. You know, I've got so many people I know who reach out to me and go, oh, I hate my job. I hate it so much. And they're like, on the surface, you'd look at them and you'd think, wow, you're a consultant surgeon. You've got a huge private practice. You're like doing so well. You're head of the department. You should be so happy. They are miserable. So they got all this money, but they've got no happiness. They've got no time. They've got no freedom. And they're just dead inside. I think that's true.
Mm. And it's very triggering. How many, like, looking at people, if suddenly they would realize that they've built life on lie, like how difficult it is to think like everything that's familiar suddenly has to go. So, yeah. So that's why I think we have to have those, especially now when we feel that we on this kind of edge, on some kind of change, like some bullshit is coming up to the surface and we see the darkness that's there. So we have to have those practices that will ground us back into the body. So we find that safety, which is a privilege as well, a big privilege, that we are able to find those spaces. And this, once you are able to find a space of safety within you, that's your duty to share that with other people, because there's so many more people less fortunate than you, and they never got offered help, let's say. So when we look at, if I'm practicing yoga and I'm reaching certain level, like, oh, I feel like I've kind of conquered some kind of darkness within me. It's my duty as a human being to pass it on to other people, so then we can grow. Oh, come on, let's go, guys, let's go. And we cannot be selfish with this.
Okay, tell me something. So like when I'm hearing this, right, it's great. Find the yogi, find the practice, develop yourself physically, mentally. How do you go and find someone who practices this, and like what would it look like? And how do you avoid the McDonald's and get the proper steak version of yogi?
Maybe interesting. Maybe don't always look for an account on Instagram, let's say, because this is the main searching engine like right now. So don't look for a yoga practitioner that has zillions of followers, because that doesn't mean anything.
Why do you say that? Well, I mean, they got millions of followers. They must be doing something right.
I mean, yeah, maybe they're very good in marketing. So that's anybody that has a valuable knowledge has to be good in marketing skills. I know so many amazing yoga teachers that they have no visibility online because we recognize that we value our time and we don't want to be kind of spending so much time, like, being scrolling. And, so you have to go to studio, you have to search, you have to explore, experiment, maybe search for some kind of recommendations.
But what would it look like? How would it be different? Because some yogas, you go to the hotel, you go to their studio, just bring the mic closer towards you. No, just like you sit back, bring the mic, that's it.
Okay.
Just move it back. So like, you go to a hotel, you go to a studio to get the mats out, you do your little positions and this position and that position, whatever, I can't remember all the names. And the class is done and you go, like, is that the kind of thing that you would be looking for, or is it a different kind of practice? How would you know what to look for? Someone totally uninitiated into yogi,
Okay.
What are they going to be looking for?
Okay, so at the beginning when you start, I would just maybe do your own research on philosophy, maybe read a couple of books. There's amazing translation of Yoga Sutras, which is maybe a little bit hard to start at the beginning, but this is a nice place to start, even if it's hard. So
I'm making a note of that. Okay.
Just do some research on the philosophy, how yoga came into place. Then I would look for somatic based practices to get you connected more to your body. So as you kind of, if you're interested in yoga, finding your why do you want to practice? Is it because you're looking for more connection to yourself, or is it because you want Lululemon leggings pictures on the Bali beach, So what's your reason for practice? Are you honest seeker? If you're an honest seeker, I'm sure you're going to find what you're looking for.
I get that.
Because
if your intention is true.
Exactly. If your intention is true and you're looking for some deeper meaning, you will find the right person. And sometimes, you will have a deeper conversation with the lady in the shop that will give you some kind of nice insight if you're able to listen.
We don't have enough deeper conversations. Too much is superficial.
Yeah, that's why we're going into that direction that we're going, because we uprooted, someone kind of chop our legs off. We're just floating heads, thinking AI, we're going to resolve our problems, but we're going there without fully acknowledging the full aspects of being a human. It's like, this is what kind of, like, I'm looking and I'm thinking, why we think this is a progress? Who told us that this is how evolution looks like? Going into this, like,
it ain't progress.
Yeah,
sister, it ain't progress.
I mean, we feel that. We feel this is the wrong way to go. Like, from where do we take the food? Like, when you look, the food is the most important thing. And how many people have gardens right now? who like look 20 years in the future, who will know how to grow a garden?
It's worrying.
I mean, yeah, I grew up, we used to always have a garden. My grandma, my mom still, they've got a big garden. So always when I go Poland, we've got vegetables. And I think it's amazing, and I love that.
I love that. I want a bigger garden so I can grow vegetables and keep goats and chickens.
And it's the choices that we make, but sometimes you have to go through certain experiences and then appreciate those experiences that put us into this like places of massive discomfort. So we realize that, oh, fuck that, I don't want to be in that place. And then have enough courage to actually to look for something else. And you might not get that in the first time, but give yourself some time to explore, and with everything that is, you go into a place, there's already set of rules within that place, and you just stay there, watch, observe, see how that makes you feel. If that makes you feel good, that's good. If not, then, But also, I think the very important and nuanced work is working with your nervous system. So if you go into a yoga practice, also make sure that you also educate yourself about how this body works, because whereas yoga is about transcending the body, experiencing the level of liberation, we also want to be connected to the body. So everything is integrated. So even though I'm going into this deep like meditations, I'm coming back and I'm connected to the body. I'm not kind of this dissociated person that reach some kind of high levels of, some high levels of spiritual experiment, and that completely disconnects me from the body. I want my body to be my strong anchor. And the stronger the body is, the stronger anchored in the ground, the higher I can go into meditation, into silence, because there's more safety, internal safety, and I'm not afraid, if that makes sense. So the nervous system work is important, I'd say, if we're really interested in a deep, long-lasting change. The aspects of yoga that you can use, that doesn't have to be a asana practice, but you can do self-reflection, do the journal, find moments of quietness and unplugging from social media. So mix and match, and use those tools because they were given to us to make our lifestyle better. I mean, lifestyle.
Yeah, it's funny you should say about the instructors with big Instagram accounts. Makes me think of surgeons. So some of the most famous surgeons, the most well-known surgeons, the ones that really market themselves super well, write papers, get other people to write papers for them, junior doctors, publish lots, go to all the conferences and travel around the world. Honestly, in my experience, not very good surgeons, very mediocre at best. And the really gifted surgeons, the wonderful surgeons, the expert ones, minimal complications, made surgery look easy. Almost no one knew about them. They were just quietly doing their job. People who knew where to find them, and they were just getting on with it. And it was very much like that. People would say to me, "Oh, I want to go see that surgeon. Apparently, he's really, really, he's really good." And I'm like, "Why do you think he's good?" "Oh, because he treats Chelsea football players." I was like, "Does that make you think that makes him good?" It's like, that's not what makes a surgeon good. But it was all marketing. It was all theatre. The ones that were really good never did that. They just did their job. And that was it. They were unsung heroes, just quietly doing their job. And it's funny you should say them. The yoga instructors, similar. But let's talk about the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, right? So
Patanjali.
Patanjali, that's it. So it's one of the foundational texts of classical yoga philosophy. It was written around the 2nd to 4th century CE. So it's not a how-to manual for postures, but this is what's really interesting. Yoga is just more than just physical movements and postures. It was a guide to the psychology and practice of yogas as a path to liberation. And it's broken down into 4 books: Pada,
padas.
Samadhi Pada, which is on concentration, meditation, the nature of the mind; Sadhana Pada, which is on the practice, 8 limbs of yoga. And then you got the Vibhuti Pada on the extraordinary powers, siddhis, that can arise from deep practice. I wouldn't mind some extraordinary powers.
Wouldn't.
I want some extraordinary powers, superpowers. My son is always asking me, Daddy, what superhero power would you have? And every day it changes for him. Sometimes he wants to fly. Sometimes he wants to be invisible. I don't know. He's hilarious.
Walk on water.
Walk on water. 4, Kaivalya Pada, which is on liberation, detachment, and the ultimate freedom of the self.
Yeah.
I think a lot of freedom lovers would like yoga based on what I've just read. And the core ideas of yoga is stilling of the fluctuations of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the 8 limbs are yama, ethical restraints, non-violence, truth, non-stealing, moderation, non-possessiveness. It's good. 2, niyama, personal niyama, personal observances, which is purity, contentment, discipline, self-study, surrender. That's a good word. 3, asana, posture, steady, comfortable seat. 4, pranayama, regulation of breath and life energy.
Prana. Yeah, prana is a life force.
We are energy beings.
Yeah.
We are energy beings and beings of light, magnet, and electricity. 5, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses from external distractions. No more TikTok and social media. 6, dharana, concentration on a single point or object. Just going to look at the tip of my finger.
Yeah. Tip of the nose.
Dhyana, meditation, continuous focus. I feel like I need to meditate more. I don't do enough. 8, samadhi, absorption, unity with the object of meditation, leading towards liberation. Goal: to achieve kaivalya, freedom, liberation, a state where the self is disentangled from the fluctuations of the mind and the matter.
Yeah. So kaivalya, ultimate liberation. So like I said, we all do yoga.
Yeah.
Already. By being a human being, by actually reading that, you see that we've got ethic morals. We've got, we do movement. So asana, the postures, we breathe. We have this sense withdrawal sometimes when we retreat into the woods or something, when we kind of connect more deeper to ourselves. Then we able to a certain extent concentrate on one object. And then sometimes if we do something that we love, we lose ourselves. So there's samadhi.
So this is what I mean, like, this was like 2,000 years ago. I think human beings have never really changed. And look how wise they were back then. Like, I like philosophy. I like thinking about things, like, why are we here? Why are things the way they are? I think it's really important. And it just goes to show you how deep and philosophical and intellectual people were millennia ago. And I think they were trying to solve the problems that still exist today, even then. But problems don't change because human beings don't change.
What's the problem?
Like everything. People, for example, how to govern people, or have a group of people and run a society. How to resist tyranny. How to stop bad people from continuously trying to take over and subjugate the masses. This is a problem in humanity. There's been a cycle of this. How do you make people value freedom and not become complacent? So many things like this,
I think that the problem that you said about it's floating on the top, but there's different under. So the more unconscious one, the one that we are so disconnected from ourselves, that we're running like a headless chicken trying to figure out what's wrong with us. What's wrong? Nothing's working? Why are we just destroying everything? But it comes from this probably lack of awareness of who we truly are. So people used to have, spiritual practices as creating this open space for your experience instead of indoctrinate. So this all problems just the manifestation of disconnection. So what we're seeing is just a kind of, maybe it's like a massive shadow of our suppressed rage and anger that's coming to the surface for us to notice. So the problem that we see is very rarely of what's really the root cause of this kind of problem. Why is it like this? And can you imagine, like, if every single human being was actually allowing themselves to and being put in the let's look at two kids. One kid is growing up in a family that's very controlling, and the other kid is growing up in a family that's healthy, and they've got offer a child a support that it needs, and the other family is kind of more trauma-based kind of experience, lots of fear. So see, there's already a difference in how they're going to come to experience life from this kind of angle. So we have so much work probably that needs to be done on supporting each other to create the spaces where healing actually can happen. So creating that container of, I see you, you've been through shit, but it's okay. I've got you, and I give you time to integrate. I give you time so you can go through whatever that you need. Right now, everything is disposable. Like, I don't like you, I'm gonna get another person,
That's exactly what it is.
So we lost touch with the emotional needs that we have, and we try to suppress them by going into the spiritual practices, thinking like, I don't need anything. No, you need. We all need. And maybe along the line we're going to, I don't know, maybe when you're older, then the process of dying will be easier because you've been doing so much, like the spiritual practices, so there's no fear of death because you're just not afraid because you have so much trust.
I'm not scared of death.
So you should be happy living, and happy live. The less you're scared, the more there's aliveness in you, and the capacity to play. So it's very complex.
What's in your book, by the way? You brought notes.
Yeah, so this is my little book of exploring ideas. So I wanted to show you one quote, if I find it, that I found the other day.
How long is it taking you to do this?
If I'm sitting and reading something, then it's a pleasure, So I've got this. I found it somewhere online, but I have no idea who said it. I didn't mention, but I think that if we're talking about being victorious, we talk about being this capacity for being vulnerable with each other and being very radically honest. If we're talking about slowing down, this radical kind of resistance would be slow down, allowing ourselves to slow down. But we also have this, we expose the systems of power. So they no longer have this,
So read that out to me.
Not victorious through conquest, but through vulnerability. Not displaying power, but exposing it. So, so I think we are on the right way. Slowly, thread by thread. We're dismantling the many systems of oppression to create more space for different experience. And you already see that so much stuff's changed. So maybe we should focus on that.
Like what?
Like we have we managed to create so many places where we can actually breathe together, where we can come and move together, where we can have this conversation, open conversation about emotions and feelings, that no one feels like, oh, it's too cringy. We're already there. That's why those stuff coming up. Because there's so much light that we're shining that light into the darkness.
I agree.
So we're on a good way, but it's not an easy path. It's very challenging, and every single individual has to take the responsibility for their own life and then share that with other people, you know, and share who they truly are, not this like, you know, stuff upper lip kind of person, you know. We all so soft. We all softies. I think we all such a big softies. And we all just want love.
Deep down.
Yeah, and we all just want love and connection. That's what makes us human. And we're so compassionate, you know?
Amen to that. Everybody, yeah, I think love is the answer.
I mean, yeah, I think so. Although it's sometimes it might also feel scary for some people, for some nervous systems, you know?
Why though?
Because if you, can you imagine like this, a lot of people probably that never experienced true love. And once you try to offer them something, that would be the scariest thing on the physiological level, because it feels unfamiliar. So recognizing that familiarity was abuse. And then how do you actually navigate to a different experience, and the different experience that unfamiliar for your nervous system will feel terrifying.
What is even love?
Exactly.
It's deep. It's very deep.
I think it's presence. It's I mean, to me personally, I feel love as a sense of safety, the presence. Someone can offer you this this presence. I think that's it. It's not like buying, I mean, sometimes maybe it's like a romantic love, buying flowers and stuff, but most of all is offering a presence and space for your undivided self.
You ever come across the love languages?
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of something about it.
Folks, as you know, I've got no sponsors for the show, so no one pays me money to place ads. I do have an affiliate page, a shop page. So if you visit my website, docmalik.com, you'll see there's a shop page, and you can look at Hunter Gather. They do great food. We've been using them for years before even I started the podcast, and there's a little code you can use there. And there's a lovely sauna company, Wellness Heracles, that has an affiliate code with me. They have brilliant saunas and cold plunges. I highly recommend you visit my page and have a look at that. And there'll be some other ones as well, like sea green supplements with iodine and micronutrients. Like I said, they don't sponsor me, but if you buy from them, I do get a little tiny percentage, and it will go a long way to supporting the show. Folks, I also want to say thanks to all of you who've been leaving reviews on Spotify, the 5-star reviews. I've seen that they've gone up. I can't thank you enough. And also on Apple Podcasts. And on that note, I just want to say thanks to Antonia Eastwood, who wrote the following comment: entertaining and informative, 5 stars. I look forward to Doc Malik's podcast very much. He has a very good, easy to listen to style with informative, insightful, and interesting guests that will help you beat the system. I don't think there's been one episode where I haven't been entertained or informed. Thank you, Antonia, and thank you everyone else who's leaving reviews and sharing my content. It makes a difference. Okay, folks, back to the podcast, and thank you so much. It's apparently it's broken down this model that there's 5 love languages.
Okay.
And I can't remember the right term, look it up quickly, but basically, let's see who wrote 5 languages.
Or 4.
5.
Okay.
Gary Chapman. That's it. So basically, this is just a model. I think it's quite a good model. So most people have one big love language and a secondary one. I'm quite greedy. I've got 3. But basically, one is words of affirmation. So when someone says things like, you know what, you're so intelligent, you're so smart, I love you so much, you're the bestest, you know, just saying nice things all the time to you and valuing you and appreciating you. That's words of affirmation. Acts of service, you know, they cook you a meal, you come home.
Oh, that's my language probably.
You got a meal cooked for you, the house is clean, all that kind of stuff. The fact that you reacted so much means that, yeah, that's definitely one of yours. So next one is receiving gifts. So if you like flowers, you like perfume, that's acts of gifts. You want a fancy, expensive handbag, and that makes you feel loved up. Great, acts of receiving gifts. Then there's quality time. That means not sitting down watching TV together, but it means spending time together in each other's presence. I mean, you could literally be just cooking a meal together, but because it's together, you're chatting, you're laughing, you're dancing, kidding around with each other. That's quality time. Going for a run together, doing something together that's, you know, you're in each other's presence, not sitting at a dinner table at a restaurant, both of you on your phone. That's not quality time. And then physical touch. And it doesn't necessarily mean sexual. It could be like literally holding hands, giving each other a massage, stroking your head or your hair or whatever.
That's mine as well.
Ah, okay. So your acts of service and physical touch. So the mistake that most people make is they give love the way they want it received. Yeah. But the problem is not everyone has the same. It's very unlikely because there's 5 options. So the chance of you meeting someone and liking them and them having the exact same love languages is very, very
unlikely.
So for example, you know, you said you like acts of service. I don't really care about acts of service, right? I'm very self-sufficient and independent. I really like quality time, right? And that's not just the love languages doesn't mean just your partner or sexual partner. It can be friendships. It can be with your children. So for example, if I go to a restaurant and to meet with my friend and he's sitting there on his phone, that's not quality time. I will get pissed off. Like that's not cool. And so quality time is very important for me. Physical touch is very important for me. And I like a little bit of words of affirmation. But my 2 big ones are quality time and acts of service. And a little bit of physical, acts of quality time and physical touch, and then a little bit of words of affirmation. But acts of service and gifts, they don't really mean much to me. I mean, it's nice. It's nice. Like for my birthday and Christmas, if I didn't get anything, I'd be like, hey, my birthday and where's my Christmas present? But it's not like I want that all the time. I don't really care. Does that resonate?
Yeah, for sure. So that means that I'm giving my love in the way that I would like to receive it. Okay, so yeah, for sure.
So, and the reason why it's important is like with your friends, with your partner, with your children, you should try and figure out what their love languages are, so that you give them the love that they want and not necessarily the love that you want. So, for example, my children are all very different. One of them likes physical touch. One of them likes quality time. One of them likes words of affirmation. But if I just gave them what I thought the whole time, they will end up feeling unloved. And that's really important. I introduced this concept of love tank.
Okay.
I would say to my kids and I think like, how full is your love tank? Is it 10 out of 10? Is it overflowing? Because I want your love tank overflowing. And if your love tank's not overflowing, what can I do to make it overflowing? And then sometimes I go, my love tank's a bit low. Like, not feeling loved. You know, it's like, but it's important to talk like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because otherwise, then you don't know.
Especially for for teachers and like yoga teachers and masseurs and what I'm doing. Like we also need to acknowledge that I'm depleted. I have nothing else to give. I need to take time for myself and recharge.
Because we were talking about this, that healing is almost like an exchange of energies. You're talking about when you do facial massage as well. You're talking about how like some people are talking, and like it you have to give your energy, don't you?
I mean, for sure you have to give attention and space for them to open up. So I feel like when we talk about the nervous system work, the nervous system of the other person is able to open once it feels safe. So we're offering that safety, and and I think it's with every single massage, like someone's touching you, someone's offering the touch. You have to be aware that you're coming into a space and you're sharing a space. So there's another person, another nervous system. And that's why, you always have to make sure that you feel comfortable and safe enough, and you exchange always. We always exchange.
Yeah, that's what healing is.
Not only healing, but conversations, like being together. We always exchange information on the kind of deeper level. There's always communication happens through the cells, through the, through the way that you breathe. Like, for example, I can regulate your breath by breathing. So you, by just being, I'm being with you, you being with me, we just regulate each other. So we uplifting each other,
Yeah.
But if you have a person that's constantly down, they slowly kind of pull you down unless you have enough capacity to
resist and
allow this person to come up. So I think this is the job, to try to lift people up.
I talked to my kids about this. I said, you can shape and create to an extent the environment. I said, just think about it. Like when you smile at someone, just smile. See, I made you smile.
Yeah.
But if I frown, I stop. No, I did it with my kids. They started frowning. I was like, see, like I can create this. So like, if you want someone to be happy and, you be happy. And by that nature, quite often you can create that environment. Sometimes it's not possible, not always, but oftentimes you can. Just look, you smile, I smile. I smile, it makes you smile. And it's like, it's mirroring. You can do that. And if you're negative and you're in a negative space, you will create that negativity. So create the positivity, and they're like, oh, okay, daddy. But I think that's really a powerful tool. You can affect change by yourself.
Yes, but there's always a but. There's always a but. So
not always.
So when we look at also experiencing positivity, we have to. So it's like a lightness, light and dark. The closer, sometimes I feel like the closer you are in the darkness without it swallowing you, the easier it is for you to be in the light. And because we have, so looking, for example, for distress and stress and all these negative feelings, the more you're able to experience them without they swallowing you, the easier for you is to navigate like this. So you're not suppressing your darkness, but you know that it's there, but it's no longer, it's in control over you. Does that make sense?
I get it. Yeah.
So with this trend of positivity, we have to acknowledge also that the darkness is as important. And if we don't do that, if I say like, oh, I'm just this positive, like love and light, I'm suppressing so much of my shadow. And because I'm not acknowledging my shadow, I'm going to project it onto somebody else.
I accept that. I like that because, and then I think that's where the whole, like the yin yang, there's the white and there's the black, there's the light, there's the darkness.
Yeah.
They both need each other.
That's a wholeness.
That's the complete. That's how you're complete.
Yeah. And that's the only way out, is to, if everyone starts saying like, oh, I'm just a shit person sometimes, that's okay. Or I have so much rage and so much anger, then what can I do about it? How can I start to kind of move it, take it out from my system?
See, that comes back to exactly what we said right at the beginning, though, about people reflecting inward as well and trying to understand why they feel and think certain ways and try and understand it and accept it. So like, yeah, I'm angry. Why am I angry? And then do something positive with that anger or frustration or guilt or shame or whatever it might be.
Oh my God, there's so many things that we can go.
What do you mean?
There's so many things that we can go to from what you just said, like shame and toxic shame, anger, capacity to be with the anger, how the repressed anger manifests as what we're seeing right now. So this when we look at this majority of people, like when you said, like when I said I'm just walking ahead, I'm not connecting to my breath. If I'm not connecting to my breath, then I'm not acknowledging what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing, how I'm connecting. I'm completely disconnected from that. You know, so then how do I recognize even how the anger feels? How do I know this is the anger? How do I know this is my other emotion? How do I differentiate what I'm actually feeling? So majority of people don't know this knowledge. And this is the basic, we should be educated on that, recognizing the emotional states and knowing how to navigate. And also taking under consideration that there's highly sensitive people also that probably, you know, they're super sensitive, so they pick up the information and they take it as their own. So someone has a lot of shit happening and they feel they have this and this experience, and then you've got this like super sensitive person and they walking and they kind of sucking that all energy in, and they think that it's theirs, but it's not theirs. They just kind of subconsciously took somebody else's experience into their own nervous system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're like the empaths.
Empaths, yeah, empaths. And I think it's big, because like sensitive people, they see beyond the behaviors, they understand from where it's coming from, and they take it, you know, and they take it to the point where they can no longer recognize which is mine and which is yours. So they live in the state of enmeshment, entanglement. So this is where also yoga practice can help with slowly start untangling those stuff, you know. But we have to do a certain amount of also educate ourselves and do some nervous system work, you know. So it's not one path. Sometimes we have to go, we do a practice, and then some stuff is bubbling up, and then maybe we need a therapy, and then maybe we need other support, you know. But this is what it is. So that's why I say the practice is very challenging, very challenging.
You got, yeah. What would you say about shame?
Oh, shame. So this shame and this toxic shame. So the toxic shame is like, for example, when you're shaming your child and say like they did something, and then you say, oh, you stupid, or you this and that. So that creates also distortion of this. There's something wrong with me. So it's not that I do something wrong. Just there's something wrong with me. It's different if you say like, oh, don't leave this knife, you know, you're gonna cut yourself. Or this different, like, leave this knife, you stupid idiot. So we have to also this toxic shame lives in the tissues of the body. It lives in the guts, and then you think that you're rotten inside. There's something seriously wrong with you, and
you're not good enough,
and you're not good enough. You know, there's lots of layers of this kind of toxicity. So you know, so this this subject is very vast, but once you start untangling it, it becomes very simple.
Yeah, it's a shame that they don't teach this all in school.
They should.
Imagine how healthier society would be, how relationships would be so much better amongst partners, colleagues, work people. You know, if everybody just kind of understood all this. And what do they teach at school? The planet is dying. Carbon dioxide is too high. It's just like, you know, I used to always say like, if they just taught kids, even 5-6-year-olds, how to eat properly and how to exercise and how to look after their bodies, so many people wouldn't have to go to hospital. Like, hospitals are full of chronic illness and disease that shouldn't be there. But the system wants it so that you can just take the tablet, take their medication. They don't actually want to make sure you're healthy and free. If they did, it's just if the government did, they would be educating all the kids, like the way I teach my kids. They're only like young kids, and they know so much more than when I was a doctor at 40. You know, the stuff that I learned in medical school was just garbage. It's just nonsense. But I think this kind of stuff, like understanding yourself, understanding, like you just said, toxic shame, trauma, introspection, reflection, all this. I mean, yeah, and PE was a bit of yoga with the philosophy thrown in. How cool would that be? That'd be pretty cool. You'd create a society of very free, independent, critically thinking, happy souls.
Is that even possible?
Everything's possible.
Everything is possible. But yeah.
So what have you, over the years of your practice and trying to live a healthy life, what would be like your top tips to living a very physically and mentally healthy life?
Educate yourself. So you becoming mechanic of your own body. So at least you have
mechanic, or even the doctor of your own body.
Yeah. So if you have this like a access to information and you can recognize slowly. Take your time. Don't rush. Don't look for super big kind of revelations. Sometimes the biggest one comes in a very small and subtle way. The deeper the understanding, the less it's visible on the surface, but it changes everything. Practice. Find your sacred space. Find your sacred space where you can practice. Whatever that is, singing, painting, moving, it doesn't matter. It's your way to connect to yourself. And once you find this modality, it does not matter. You don't have to be a yogi to be enlightened. You can be an amazing, artist. Stay present to your breath, or find times in a day where you can connect to the breath, feeling the weight of your body, feeling your feet on the ground, so you know that you're here. Then what else? Surround yourself with people that brings you joy, that makes your heart joyous, and you can create with. Don't spend too much time online, or find ways, alternatives, to stop scrolling so much on social media, on Instagram and Facebook.
I think that spending time with people that make your heart sing.
Eat together, like sharing food. So you don't eat alone, but actually you eat with people. Find your kind of tribe, community.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, last question of the day.
Hit me.
You're on your deathbed. You're about to meet your creator, whoever that is. And before you die and meet your maker, you're not nervous, by the way. What words of wisdom and advice would you give to all your loved ones around you?
Wow. Have fun.
That's a good place to end.
Have fun.
Love it.
Don't remember. Am I speaking now?
Yes, you are. Pull the mic right in front of you.
Okay, so I think that
you're looking at Bob Moran's artwork for everyone who's not watching the video. And what are you saying when you're looking at Bob Moran's artwork?
I see like this shows the state of the society. And how can we even talk about the yoga practice when society looks like this? When we kind of, I don't know, it just feels surreal. But this is what we've created. And if we were established in those like really strong ethics and morals, we would have never allowed for this to happen.
What you said was, humanity's, like a lot of it, we're so retarded if we're allowing ourselves to do this.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. Like, come on, we've got ground, we've got electricity, we've got sun, we've got wind. And yet we allow to be exploited, to be used, for people to put certain amount of money on our life, on our time. It just sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then you really try, and there's so much resistance because of the conditioning and the belief that we have that life should be like this.
But you know what it is? Because we've been made into cattle, commodity.
I mean, yeah,
and
it's
we've allowed ourselves to do that. If we were-
Orwellian realities. Yeah.
and that's why, if you know, I always say to people, if you act like a sheep, be prepared to be slaughtered. You know, don't act like a sheep. Don't be cattle. But that's what it is. That's what Bob Moran highlights, where the state of humanity is that, you know, these people who give their brains away for science. Look at that picture on the right that you're looking at, you know, that people are literally just giving their brains away to the government, to authority, to do their thinking for them. We need to stop that.
Yeah, and when we see like the Palestine, by the way, free Palestine, you know, free Congo, free Sudan. And how can we even talk about practicing yoga when we have so many systems that, you know, that kill, that slaughter?
Free Palestine, free Congo,
free Sudan,
and Yemen, and all these places being bombed and exploited. Yeah.
And we're trying to help. We're trying to help families because they don't have houses. They don't have tents, so they have to sleep on the bare ground. And I'm thinking, like, how is this even possible? And then all these governments are staying silent. No one's saying anything. No one helping. It's just weird. It's weird, but it leads to, you know, to us creating this resistance. We can have love, but also we have to fight for our rights. We do, because if we stay there just watching and hoping that someone else will do the job for us, then we're gonna end up, you know, like you said, like kettles.
I don't know if you remember the Libya war. There's a Libya war, and they said, oh, Gaddafi's bombing his own people, he's killing his own people, he's murdering them. We need a no-fly zone, humanitarian no-fly zone. And they bombed Libya, they bombed their waterworks, their treatments, their sanitation. And they actually, NATO released the fundamentalists from the jails and the criminals and supported them to overthrow the government. But the big thing was no-fly zone, no-fly zone. Where's the no-fly zone over Gaza? The hypocrisy is just insane.
Yeah. It's a genocide. It's a genocide, and we are all responsible because, you know, we give our money to the government. We paid for it, sponsored by us. And now we look at there's no way, and the well is bottomless, because, you know, once you open yourself up to giving help, then you realize that there's so many souls, so many people that needs help, that it can overwhelm you. And then you know, we've created a system that it's broken. It is broken. It's utterly broken. It doesn't work anymore. And we can see that. And I think we're on the kind of edge of a change, whether we stand up and fight for rights, or we're going to have taken them away completely from us. And the Palestine, maybe, is a bloody test for humanity.
Bingo.
They're killing us. If we allow them to cleanse Palestine, they're going to do exactly the same with us later on. You know? So I think it's a big test.
And it's a technological test. They're doing the AI targeting, drone targeting, Palantir, everything. It's a test bed. It's actually, they're practicing out on the Palestinians what the control grid will then be for the rest of us. That's what people I don't think realize.
Yeah, but
today it's them, tomorrow it's us.
From where do they get money? Spotify, right? Uber Eats. Like we sponsor everything. So, you know, so we are responsible for that. So I think becoming aware of where do we spend our money? Where is our energy going? The money that we spend. So shops, high street shops, and you realize that everywhere that you spend money, it goes to profit, that profit goes those people?
Not everywhere. So I wrote about 126 tangible steps you can take to fight tyranny. I wrote it on my Substack.
Okay.
And one of the things what I said was like, look, shop locally. So, you know, I get my meat from a local farmer. I get my bread from a local baker, Polish guy. Amazing. Best bread ever.
Can we go there?
I'll take you.
Okay.
After this. I mean,
Amazing.
I'll take you. And then, you know, I buy locally at a food group, Organity, with Nat Bradbury. I don't want to spend my money in the big supermarkets. And I'm not going to lie. I do go to the supermarket sometimes, but I buy a lot less now than I used to years ago. Most of my stuff I get from small, local community places. You know, I don't buy that much anymore from big global companies. I don't want to buy from Amazon. I don't want to buy from multinationals. Yeah. Just stay away from all that. Buy local as much as possible. And, you know, keep the money, use cash. Don't use cards and credit cards. So you're right. We need to fight the system by stop feeding it.
Exactly. Yeah. The money that we spend. And then you go next to, how come McDonald's still open? Who eats there? You know, we shaming people for being too sensitive, you know, oh, you're such a wuss. But we kind of not saying anything for people to not using the brain and not questioning reality. I think this should be at the base of everything. Like, where does my money go? We have enough space, maybe now, mentally, that we can actually ask some important questions.
Let's go get you some bread.
Yay! And eggs.
Eggs as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You were saying?
We should also be thinking, how can we bring a yoga practice outside of the mat? And when we talk about not only treating your yoga practice as you doing a couple of asanas on the mat, actually finding community that you can create with other people that has similar goals. And right now, the goals would be to disrupt the systems that we have, to create, to bring more awareness, you know, that that there is something like privilege where certain aspects of human suffering is not touching you, but it does not mean that it exists. The fact that you have a choice now, it doesn't mean that it will stay like this, you know. The fact that you right now in a comfortable position should also invite you to take a step. And every single one of us is responsible for actually speaking up and taking their stance.
But you know what? It's difficult to convince people that. I remember going to a wedding and people came up to me, doctors, said, "Oh my God, you're Doc Malik." I was like, "Yes, I love what you're doing. I'm a GP." And then the guy goes, "I'm a GP too. And I agree with everything you're saying." I'm like, "Oh, that's great." I said, "What are you doing about it?" And then they both looked at their feet. They were like really uncomfortable. And then one of them said, "I'm not doing anything right now because I can't afford to lose my job. I've got a mortgage and I've got a young family." And then I said, "I've got a mortgage and I've got a young family." And then they both went quiet and they didn't know what to say. And then I went, "I know it's tough, but if we all just stay quiet, nothing's going to change."
I know.
You know, so you're right. People who aren't comfortable right now, they're scared they're going to lose that comfort.
That's why they don't speak up.
I think so much of my life has been uncomfortable that actually I would say for the most part, it has been uncomfortable. And so when I was comfortable, it was quite unusual. It was like, oh my God, I'm comfortable. This is a bit weird.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that hard to go, you know what, I need to speak up. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but you know what, I've been there so many times before. I've picked myself up. So it's, again, that's funny because if I hadn't had that discomfort in my life, I wouldn't have spoken up. And this is the back with the darkness and the light. I've had a lot of darkness in my life. A lot. But then that's good. It's helped me become who I am today. People need to be willing to jump off the edge into the unknown. and have faith. It's that leap into the
Leap of
abyss.
faith.
Leap of faith. And I think too many people hold on to the edge and go, no, I'm happy over here. I know this. I might be uncomfortable, but at least I know it's uncomfortable, and I know the situation. Like there, it might be worse off. So I'm just going to stay here. What they don't realize is actually not going to be, maybe it's worse off. It's actually going to be better. You just can't see it. Because like my life is better than what it was as a surgeon. You know, I was really sick, stressed out. I was in underground in the theatre all day, no sunlight. Then in a clinic with dark glasses and shutters in blue artificial light. I never got out. I never used my brain for anything. I was just like a hamster on a hamster wheel. Work, make money, big house, big car, you know, big holidays. I was trapped. Whereas like now I'm free and I'm so much happier.
Majority of people live like this, no? Majority of
The
people.
little hamster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you reach certain stage of like, oh, I'm so comfortable, I've got enough, and it is comfortable, and then it is hard to give it up, but you know, the price you pay with your soul, with your energy.
Yeah.
This is what's should be a question, but also this is the problem, that we're not connected to ourselves, to our essence. We don't have this capacity for exploration, for curiosity, for play, you know. So, but I wanted to say something, but it just
It vanished.
away.
So
Vanished.
did you listen to my podcast, the one where I took the mushrooms?
Did you take the mushrooms?
I took mushrooms.
And
This is last November. That was crazy. It was wild. So I've never drunk alcohol in my life because I grew up as a Muslim. And then even when I gave up Islam 18 years ago, I just felt like I don't want to drink alcohol because, you know what? I don't know what it's like. I could end up becoming an addict. I just don't need that stress. So I didn't drink. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Don't take any drugs. But then I took a hero's dose of magic mushrooms at a retreat, and I went away into another dimension
okay.
for 7 hours. And I went through the ego death and everything. And in that journey, I left my body, but it was a thin connection. And I realized the main function of the brain is to keep us in this body, to stop our spirit and soul experiencing what's out there. And I looked at, I was standing outside the universe. Like, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I was outside the universe. I could see the universe and all the stars and all the galaxies, and something amazing was happening. I heard this noise. I never heard this noise, but it was a deep, resonant noise. And it was vibration. And then I saw this vibration, this line go across the universe. And I was like, oh my God, that's the God frequency. And I was witnessing the God frequency, and I tried to make the noise, and a little yellow line came, and I was too far off, but I felt happiness and joy with that noise. And so I made the noise again, and then every single time I just corrected the pitch and the tone, and then finally my frequency matched the frequency of the universal God consciousness. And I felt myself suddenly melt into that. And I was terrified for one split second because I thought I was going to dissolve and disappear into this God consciousness or whatever it was. But instead, I realized I was just one string, one chord in this bigger harmony of orchestra. And I've never felt so much bliss and love and joy in my life. I didn't want to leave. It was just beautiful. I felt I'd come home. And I was like, I know of my existence and my family and my life back home, but this is actually where I belong. This is where we all belong, and we are all the same. We are all part of this God consciousness, but we're just one piece of it, and we are all made to forget who we are. We think that we're this person on planet Earth and this is our existence. when actually we're all connected and we're all just love. And then I came back into this existence. But it was wild.
Well, but I guess maybe this is what we truly are. But look, even at us talking, we have completely different conditioning, completely different beliefs, completely different skin color, completely different background, you know, and we're able to communicate. There's not, you know, we connected. Where is this common ground that connects us? What connects us? So what connects us is beyond everything.
Yeah.
You know?
It really is. So, and that's the thing. I realized that all of this, you know, like this, you talk about, you know, you got hair, I got no hair. You got lovely green eyes, I got brown eyes.
I don't have a beard.
You don't have a beard. But the reality is, this is just a meat suit.
Yeah.
This is just like you're wearing a
meat
red
suit, yeah.
You're wearing a red hoodie, I'm wearing a blue shirt. So it is, it's just but once you peel it all off, like we're just beings of light coming from the same place.
Yes.
It's quite magical. And also in that trip, I met my younger self. So I had my little kids' toys with me, and they were reminding me of like keeping me grounded. And I said, I loved them. I was going through all their names. I don't like saying the names on air. So I'm going through all their names and saying, I love you. And I felt so much love. And then this voice was in my head saying, why do you love them so much? I said, because they're my children. I love them. They said, no, but why do you really love them so much? Like this much, like you love them like an insane amount. I was like, this is normal. They went, no, you love them a bit more than. And then I said, are you loving them the way you wanted to be loved? Maybe because you weren't loved like this. I was like, I was thinking about maybe. And then suddenly I'm in this dark space and there's a cone of light. Light, and then there's a ring of light. And there's a little boy lying on his side, curled up, crying. And he's so lonely, so lonely. And I was like, who the hell is this? And I thought it was my son. And my son's only 6, so he's very similar age. And every night I sleep with my son on the futon, believe it or not. And I curl up next to him, I hold him tight. And I came close to comfort this little boy, thinking it was my son. And I realized it was me. I was looking down at myself. And I was like, oh, why are you so lonely and sad? Then suddenly all these images started coming up. When I was 4 or 5, standing at the banisters upstairs, looking at my mum and dad, shouting and screaming and swearing and fighting, and how lonely I used to feel and how unloved I felt. And I thought it was maybe my fault or whatever. And I remember, and I said to my son and myself, it's not your fault. You are loved. You'll never be abandoned. You'll never be rejected. And I just cried with him and I held him tight. And suddenly he dissolved into me. And I felt whole for the first time. And then I realized why so much of my life I felt imposter syndrome. I wasn't good enough. You know, I'm inadequate. I'll be rejected. But after that experience, no, I love myself. But not in a narcissistic, selfish way. But you know what? I'm a good person. I'm whole now. So yeah, it was quite a magical experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Bloody hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I honestly thought I was dying. I was pulled out into the deep sea and then pulled under. And when I thought I just couldn't give up, I just wanted to give up and die. I'd surfaced, get my breath, and then I get pulled back down again. And that happened so many times. And it felt like I was in that state for 10 years. And I would cry. I'd be like, I'm done now. I just want to die. And then it was like, it moved to the next stage. Like, you're ready to move on. But I don't know. I think that's what they call ego death. And I moved on when I surrendered. Like, just letting go.
Well, I don't think necessarily that ego, maybe ego dies, but maybe your ego became so flexible that it allowed you to have these experiences, which is beautiful because that's integration of your inner child And like you said, it's painful.
Very painful.
So the growth, it's extremely painful because you have to meet the parts of yourself that you rejected. And
Yep.
and I think that's why we need a strong container for holding these experiences. They're beautiful, but they sometimes crying your eyes out. And
Crying is good.
it's amazing.
I
And the
cry at
grief,
everything.
and the grief. Once you experience grief, because there's grief, like you met this little part of yourself. There's this grief for lost life, because this part of you never got to live.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go get some bread.
Hey-ya!
But you need to stop talking after.
But grief is amazing, expansive emotion. If you're able to feel the grief and be with the grief and build a capacity to really meet yourself in those dark spaces, then the healing happens.
I'm glad that you came today, because this morning I was feeling really frustrated and down about this whole digital ID business.
Oh,
But now, having had this chat, I feel a bit more, I'm okay. Like, everything's going to be fine. Do you know what? Everything's going to be fine. Everything will work out for a reason.
we have to make a decision. You have to make action. You see something you don't like, you voice it, you take action, and then hope for the best.
Exactly. And also, I need to learn that I can't be responsible for everyone else.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to comply. I'm going to say no. And I'm hoping that many more people will do. Not even the majority, just a significant minority just needs to say no, and it'll fall apart. But I need to stop taking responsibility for other people. I mean, other people are individuals. They have to decide. And if the majority of people accept it, well...
we've got to finish, but there's the concept of collective unconscious, So we collective, as much as we individual, other people's decision affect you whether you like it or not. So we can we even say that, I'm just worried about myself? It's true to a certain extent, but other people's decision affect you. So we can hope for the best, but what other people will decide will eventually affect us, whether we like it or not.
Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Hear that?
Get yourself bury some kind of meat under the ground so you can have a food when you need it.
I don't want meat buried under the ground.
No, I mean people that they have barrels, they hide the meat in there for
Are you kidding?
Yeah. They're called preppers.
Preppers, yeah.
Preppers, yeah.
Yeah. Prepare for the worst.
Preparing for the worst. Which is wild.
Do you know there's a document, a 2047 document or something like that? It says in 2047, only 2 airports in this country, Edinburgh and London Heathrow, no lamb or beef consumption, no food imports, like 60% less traffic on the road. They want us with no energy. They want us cold, hungry, not eating meat or lamb. Yeah, I'm being serious. Like, it's really bad what they've got planned for us. We need to resist it.
Well, there's a agenda.
Net zero, Agenda 2030, all a part of that, yeah.
Okay, there's Israel in it, right?
They've got their, I think, they've got their dirty hands over a lot of things. I don't know what the role is that they're playing.
So I guess we need to educate and just keep politics accountable, for their actions.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, and have fun.
Have a nice day.
Love and light.
I, Ahmed Malik, am a private civilian protected by the Geneva Convention. My Substack, social media posts, and podcasts are my personal experiences, observations, and opinions. This information is for educational purposes only. Although I am a doctor, I am not your doctor, and I am not providing medical or legal advice to you or to the wider public. I am not licensed or registered with the GMC or any other licensing board. The responsibility for the interpretation, due diligence, and use of the information from my Substack and my podcast lies with you, the viewer and/or listener. Please do your research and use your discernment. It is not my intention to harass, intimidate, offend, defame, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm, or distress to any man or woman, and the information presented here is done so with peaceful and honourable intentions. Enjoy, folks.